everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Hasbro Indiana Jones Adventure Series, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Professor Indiana Jones, and Walter Donovan. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe these are Hasbro Pulse and Amazon exclusives, but I could be wrong there. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, Indiana Jones Adventure Series, Indiana Jones Professor by Hasbro. Here he is in the package, holding a book. Looks like his gray suit. One side we have checklists, a bunch of other Indy figures. Other side, here's this Indy. On the back, here's Indy holding his book. Here's an example of him and all the accessories you'll get. And if it helps anybody, here's his barcode. And then we have Walter Donovan. He's holding the Holy Grail. Checklist, Walter. Here he is, all of his accessories. And here's his barcode. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright, now that these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. They come with quite a bit of cool stuff. These Indy figures have some pretty nice accessories. In this video, we're going to take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height, and articulation. We'll compare them with a bunch of other Indiana Jones figures. And we'll compare them with a bunch of action figures from different various companies. Now, Hasbro is really moving along with this Indiana Jones Adventure Series line. We got some Raiders of the Lost Ark figures in the first wave, at least one Temple of Doom figure so far, and they're already cranking out some Last Crusade figures. Now, there are some omissions that are kind of disappointing, but hopefully over time they're going to give us all the key characters we want, and maybe even some of the key characters that we don't want. So, let's start off with the man himself, Indiana Jones. So this is Indiana Jones. He's in his professor attire. Looks pretty good. Gray suit with a vest, red bow tie. He comes with 3 accessories. A large old shield, a torch that's made from a bone, and then his notebook. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Indiana Jones in his professor attire. He's seen in a couple films like this. Indiana Jones is played by Harrison Ford. This is a new Hasbro license, and they're doing a pretty good job so far. I just wish the figures were a little bit taller. So let's take a look at them. Starting with the face here, and I will tell you, the likeness is fantastic. It looks just like Harrison Ford, just like he was in Indiana Jones. Going further down, he's got that red bow tie. Now, one thing I don't like about this figure is his articulation at the top of the neck and at the bottom of the neck, and you can see that large gap at the bottom. I wish they didn't even have that point of articulation. Yes, his head can move better because of it, but it's very noticeable. He's got sort of blue striped shirt, gray vest on, gray jacket, gray slacks. Looks like single jointed elbows, single jointed knees, dress shoes. I am a sucker for suited body figures. This guy is right up my alley. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I think they did an excellent job on this figure. Likeness is totally there. I can totally see Harrison Ford. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with a large shield. It's a very large shield, and it looks like both the top right and the bottom left are replicas of the Grail tablet. Looks pretty good. Detailing is fantastic. Nice paint job, nice sculpt. Some straps here for him to hold his hands through. The back is very old, weathered, worn. I like it. Great attention to detail there. Here's Indy holding that shield. You can see how his arms just sort of fit into the straps there. Now for his torch. It's a makeshift torch they made. He's got a bone at the bottom, sort of put together. It's got the flame on the top, cast in a semi-transparent sort of orange plastic. Here's Indy holding that torch. Now for his notebook. I very distinctly remember this in the film. It's got that rubber band holding it together. It had all his notes from his different various expeditions. Here's Dr. Jones holding and getting ready to open his notebook. Now they're taking a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. And that is my biggest complaint about these figures. They're a lot shorter than I would have liked. Yeah, I prefer the 7-inch scale, but I knew these guys were going to be 6-inch scale. but I really wish they were the same size as Hasbro, G.I. Joe Classified, Fortnite, or Marvel Legends figures. They're more like the true 1/12 scale, straight 6 inches tall. They seem to be a little bit larger than the Star Wars Black figures, and for that I'm thankful. Those figures are so small. I swear they're smaller than 6 inches. That being said, I'm still a big fan of the Indiana Jones films. I love real-world pseudo-type figures. These guys are going to be great additions to my action figure collection. Just wish they were a little bigger. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 6.2 inches tall, which can translate to just under 16 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. You can look up, not very much, down a pretty good amount. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other. His neck has articulation at both the top and the bottom of the neck, but you can really see that gap sometimes. I'm not a fan of how that looks. They should have just made that one solid piece with the body and left the articulation at the top. It's just very, very noticeable. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got single jointed elbow, but it goes in more than 90 degrees with rotation. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Torso looks to be one solid piece. He's got waist swivel here, ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Legs completely does the splits, well, at least pretty close. Ball joints, forward that far, back not much. Thigh cut, single jointed knee with rotation. Then his ankle, forward and back, tilt rock, rotation. Now to check out the reuse on this figure, and he shares a lot of pieces from the Club Obi-Wan Indy. Looking at the two figures next to each other, I'd say their heads are exactly the same. Looks like the body is mostly the same, the arms are the same, the jacket's the same, the vest's a little bit different. Bow tie looks to be the same. Of course, the paint job's quite different. This guy's a flower at the edge of his jacket. And I'd say the rest of the figure is identical. Paint job makes a big difference, but it is pretty much the same figure, 90%. Now let's look at Donovan. His full name is Walter Donovan. He comes with 2 heads, a pistol, the Grail tablet, and then the Grail itself, although I believe this one is actually the fake Grail. Before we look at those, let's talk about and check them out. So Walter Donovan here is played by Julian Glover. He appeared to be a friend, colleague, maybe even mentor of Indiana Jones at the beginning, but turned out he was the villain the entire time, selfishly trying to get the Grail for himself. So let's take a look. Start with the face here. Looks pretty good. Older man, receding hairline, parted on the side, combed over, black shirt underneath, gray striped tie. He's got, I don't know, sort of a safari type outfit. He's on an archaeologist event, mission, single jointed elbows, single jointed knees, tall boots. Figure looks good. I'd say the likeness is not quite as good as the Indy figure, but it's not bad. Overall, it's nice to have the villain from the third film, since it looks like they're not going to be giving us the villain from the second film. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. All the figures look pretty good in this line, but I'm very impressed with Professor Jones. And here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now for his accessories, and let's start off with his heads. Donovan here comes with 2 heads, one normal head, and then one aged head when he drank from the wrong chalice, the wrong Grail. Here he is with his first head. This is his normal Donovan head. And here's his second head. This is the one where he got aged and died after drinking out of the wrong Grail. Now for the Grail tablet, which is probably his coolest accessory. It was one of 2 markers left by 3 brothers, the Knights of the First Crusade, describing the location of the Holy Grail. The tablet was made of sandstone and, according to Indiana Jones, used in an early Latin text and probably from the mid-12th century. It's only sort of the bottom half, but you can see the cross in the middle, all the different inscriptions there. Very cool prop and accessory. I remember in the film, Donovan showing this to Indy at a party or something like that. Here's Donovan holding the Grail tablet. Now for his pistol. It's a very small pistol, a wee little thing. It's got some black on the handle, the rest is silver. Sculpted detail's not bad, but it's very small. And here's Donovan, holding that pistol. And finally, we have the Holy Grail. It's a golden chalice. I believe this is actually the fake grail that he drank out of. It's supposed to give you immortal life. It looks very nice, but a little more elaborate than something Jesus would have drank out of. Here's Donovan holding, looking at, and getting ready to drink out of this cup. And now let's check out his height. Very similar to Indy. He's standing at about 6'1" or 6.2 inches tall, which can translate to just under 16 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head. Of course, you can rotate side to side. You can look up a little bit, down, tilt his head from one side to the other. Like Indy, he seems to have articulation at the top of the neck as well as the bottom of the neck, but with his shirt being black, it's a lot less noticeable, the cut versus Indy. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. Single jointed elbow goes in a little bit more than 90 degrees as well. Rotation, so wrist can rotate and it's going to be hinged a little bit. Torso is one solid piece. He's got a ball joint at his waist, rotate around, forward and back, although the jacket's going to obstruct and limit that a little bit. Legs, does the splits, pretty close. Ball joints, forward, about that much. Back, really not much. Thigh cut. Double jointed knees. I think I said they were single earlier, but I was wrong. Ankles, forward and back. Tilt rock, and looks like no traditional rotation there. Here's Donovan pointing a gun at Indy as he's holding the grail, the chalice. Now let's check them out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Indiana Jones figures. Here's the Professor Indiana Jones, or as I refer to him as Dr. Jones, next to the Raiders of the Lost Ark Indy in his traditional outfit. And here he is, next to the Club Obi-Wan Indy. Then, next to the first wave of figures from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Here are all the figures they've made from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Then, next to the only figure they've made from Temple of Doom so far, but the second wave is going to be focusing on that film. And here are all the figures they've made from The Last Crusade. Some people are starting to find the Target exclusive Chasm figure. And here's the entire collection of Hasbro Indiana Jones Adventure Series figures, at least so far. Here's his Professor Indiana Jones figure, next to a NECA Blade Runner older Harrison Ford. And here are all the different Harrison Ford figures that I have. Now let's check them out, next to some other Hasbro figures. I said earlier, I was kind of disappointed with how small these Indy figures are, but they're not nearly as small as the Hasbro Star Wars Black figures. Here they are with some Hasbro Star Wars figures. Those things are just so small. I cannot get behind that line. I swear they're 5-inch scale, even though they're advertised as 1/12 scale. These Indy figures are 6.2, 6.1 inches tall. Look how much shorter the Star Wars figures are. And here they are, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. They're not too far. I mean, two suited guys. Indy figures are just a little bit smaller, not too far off. Then, next to some Hasbro G.I. Joe classified figures. Once again, maybe a tiny bit smaller, but not too far off. Look at Dr. Jones next to Storm Shadow. Their shoulders are pretty much level. And now, next to some Hasbro Fortnite Victory Royale figures. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix them with. Since they're Hasbro Indiana Jones figures, they're the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect, and work way larger. Here they are, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. And here they are, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. Then, next to some packing material that came with these two figures. And here they are, next to some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here they are, next to some Mezco 1/12 collective figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And here they are, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here they are, with some McFarlane toys. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. And finally, next to some Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. Overall, these are some pretty cool figures. My favorite of the two is definitely the Professor Indiana Jones. Really like the likeness there, really like his outfit, really like the look they made for him. Both these figures, the accessories are great. In particular, I'm a huge fan of the Grail tablet. I think that's a really cool accessory. The Grail itself is also pretty cool. The old dying head of Donovan's nice. Indy's notebook's pretty cool. Articulation's pretty good. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Their height, a little bit shorter than I'd like, but I'm warming up to them. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.